Hi, this is Vedavyas. I am founder of Y3 Community and I am an integrated leadership coach and I am a certified NLP Master Practitioner. I don't know how much you understood what I just told. What is this integrated leadership? What is this Y3 and all this stuff? Well, this video is about that. And it's not just about what these are about and what I do. More than that, this video is about parts integration, a very powerful approach which will be helpful for you to solve various different problems. And even when I say about my approach and the Y3 leadership, I'll not go too much into what that is. I'll be mainly focused on how I used the parts integration approach to come up with Y3 leadership. So this video is more focused on helping you understand what the parts integration is. And whatever I discuss, this will be more like examples of how you can use this approach. So let's get to it. So the idea is I'll be doing a series of YouTube videos on parts integration. And this video is the first among them. This is about what this parts integration is. Well, I just told you about the outcomes. So you will understand what this integrated leadership is, and more than that, you'll be learning a very powerful approach to solve your problems. Now, a very important aspect related to parts integration is positive intention. Let me explain you this way. There is an NLP presupposition. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. I'm trained and certified in that. And there are presuppositions in NLP. You can think them as some founding principles, fundamental principles of NLP. So one of the NLP presupposition is every behavior has a positive intention, which means you may think that certain behaviors are unhealthy, but from the perspective of the person who is exhibiting those behaviors, that person is doing them with a certain positive intention. So let me explain this with an example. So recently, I and my fellow NLP master practitioners, so we come together once in a while and we discuss various things and we practice and these things happen. And recently there was a session where we all came together and so a friend told that she's spending a lot of time on the social media and she doesn't want to do that. Instead, she can work on her business, she can do other important things. So she doesn't like, she's spending a lot of time on social media. And then I use this parts integration approach on her. So I explained the NLP presupposition and I told her, so you're using social media, you're spending a lot of time on it. So what do you think is the positive intention behind it? On one level, you know that it is coming in the way of your business, it is coming in the way of your life. So one part of you knows that. At the same time, there is another part of you which wants to spend more time on the social media. So what is the positive intention of this part? When I asked this, she was like, so initially when I started my business, I really enjoyed it and I want to do for the joy of it. But once I came into the business, there were so many things and all these things were happening and there is a lot of stress. So that is why I want to use the social media. Then I told her, okay, you're telling about stress. I understand, but this is still the situation, the stressful situation. What is the positive intention behind doing that, doing your behavior of using social media. So I invited her to go deeper into that. Then she began to tell that her clients are not getting results the way she expected, and things are not happening the way she wanted. So social media can be an escape from reality. So again, I told her, okay, now we are moving from the stress aspect to we are going deeper, escape from the reality. That is still a situation. So I asked her to go even deeper to see what is the positive intention behind the social media usage. Then she was like, okay, and she was thinking, and okay, maybe I'm just looking for that magical pill which will solve all my uh, problems. So maybe I'm just looking for that script which I can use, or the solution which I can use with my clients to make things happen, to get them the results. So then we finally arrived at that positive intention. She was looking for that magical pill, the magic pill. So, what is apparently looking like a distraction and waste of time is actually a part within her is searching for all the solutions. How do I solve all these problems? And she's looking everywhere, which includes the social media. So now, when we understood this positive intention behind it, now we work with a magic pill. So there were other people, I told like it's a session. So other people also pitched in, and we made her, get a better understanding of this magic pill. So again, I will not go too much into detail. It is some coach related stuff, and it may not be relevant to everyone, but I'll just very simply put. So many times what happens is the coaches who are into the coaching and training, they want the scripts. Even I was like this. I want to have the script when I go work with someone. But it's a very limited approach. We don't have script for every situation, right? So more than relying on scripts, we getting into the situation and paying attention to the client or the person who needs help. And as per the situation, as per the needs of that client, we creating the magic instead of taking some magic pill and going, we creating the magic on the go. That is a much more powerful approach. So we encourage her to create her own magic pill on the go. So this was something that happened again. uh, the aspect I want you to pay attention to here is the positive intention behind this. And once we understood the positive intention, then we looked at how we can integrate that, not the entire aspect of the social media usage, but that core positive intention. How can we integrate that into her journey in a healthy way? Okay. Now, I invite you to use this approach in other situations as well. So, there are many unhealthy behaviors. For example, to give some examples, there are affairs, extramarital affairs, there's eating junk food, and there are some people, they don't want to mingle with other people, known as asocial. So, all these behaviors apparently they look like unhealthy, but there is a positive intention behind these behaviors also. And maybe something is happening with you. There is uh, some unhealthy behavior which you are exhibiting. One part of you says no, it's not good, it's not healthy, but another part of you wants to do that anyway. So I invite you to go deeper and understand what is the positive intention behind that behavior of yours. And once you understand that, how can you integrate that into your journey in a healthy way? So, this is one part of our discussion, which is understanding the positive intention, which is a very important and the first part in the parts integration. Now, we'll look at another example. Now, we'll be focusing more on the integration part. For this, I'll be taking the example of my system, the Y3 leadership. So, for you to understand, Uh, so this happened like many years before, 2018-19, when I was doing my MSc Economics thesis. So my thesis topic was significance of mental models in economics. So as part of that, I did a lot of research, and especially I delved deeper into various systems, and so I did a lot of research. Uh, so, uh, anyways, so here for our discussion, we'll be looking at three major systems, which are the religions, the communism, and capitalism. And each of these systems has produced great leaders. For example, the religious leaders such as Swami Vivekananda, Dalai Lama, and communist leaders such as Karl Marx, Che Guevara, and the capitalist leaders, the Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs. So these systems, there are many great leaders related to these systems. Now, the interesting part. So there are many conflicts between these systems. So, what do you mean by conflict? So I'll give some examples and some stories. Uh, okay, in case you don't know who Bodhidharma is, Bodhidharma is one of the Buddhist practitioners, and he was the one who, uh, like who took the aspect of the Zen, the origin of Zen from India to China. So when the Dhyan from India went to China, it became Chan, and later on, it further went to Japan, it became Zen. So he is a very important person in the Zen tradition, Bodhidharma. And even we have a movie, right? Surya's movie, Seven Sons, Bodhidharma, yeah, that guy. Uh, okay, so this story is when Bodhidharma went from India to China. So when he went to China, a king in that region, so he came to Bodhidharma and he received him very well. And during the conversation, the king was telling to Bodhidharma, I did so many things for the people. I constructed the canals and planted the trees, and I built the monasteries, and I did all these things. So will I go to heaven? And then Bodhidharma looked at him and he told, no, you will definitely not go to heaven. You will go to the lowest hell. And that king was shocked. So there is a lot of deeper meaning in this story. And the context of why I'm telling here is this is a classic example where the religion can differ with the communist approach. The communist approach is this: do good for all the people, help all the people, and all these things. And a person who is really deep into the religion, if a person goes to very the core, he will see that this aspect of trying to do good things and being nice can also be an obstruction in the path. So this is an example where the religion and communism can, you know, there is some friction there. And then, uh, and the communism calls the religions as the opium of masses. So it's like a drug that keeps people from doing what is really needed. So communism also has its own, friction towards the religions. And then, if you have to look at the friction between the communism and capitalism, the classic example is Russia versus US. So, on a very, not just the geopolitics, on a very ideological level, there is this friction because Russia is more towards the communist approach and US is more towards the capitalist approach. And there are frictions between the capitalist approach and the religion also. To give one example, there is a very famous sociologist, Max Weber. So the books that he wrote, are considered to be some of the most fundamental books related to sociology. So, one such book is The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. So, one key point that he tells us, again, I'm not going into all the various details, I'm just looking at the fundamental thing. What Max Weber proposes is, so in the Christians there is the Catholics and Protestants, right? So the Catholics are more mainstream or more orthodox in nature. And there was a certain point of time, the people who didn't want to go with that structure, they kind of came away from it and they followed their own path, who later became the Protestants. And Max Weber's observation is the people who came away from that orthodox religion of Christianity, they were the ones who became very successful. They came into the business and achievement in the capitalism, and they were the ones who became very successful. And his thesis is that the people who follow all these orthodox structures of the religions, they will not be able to really become successful. That will be like a challenge for them, like a block for them. So capitalism and the religion also have their differences like this. I just give few examples. There's so many different levels. So these three systems of religion and communism and capitalism, they have their own conflicts. Now, okay, now we'll be using the parts integration approach for the systems. So, as you already know, we'll be looking at what is the positive intention behind a certain aspect. So generally in the context of behaviors, we see the positive intention. Now, since we are looking at some very big systems, we are looking the fundamental principle. Again, they're the same thing. Uh, by using the phrase fundamental principle, it looks more relevant here. So if you look at what is the core aspect, the fundamental principle of these systems, if you take religion, the fundamental aspect of that is yoga. Again, I know that people have all misconceptions about yoga. It is just about twisting the body and all. But if we go at the very core of what yoga is essentially about inner well-being, touching that state of bliss. At the very core, that is yoga. And at the very core, that is what religion actually is. And if we go to the communism, the core principle of communism is yagna, which again means, being from that state of offering, contribution. And if you go to capitalism, it is yashas. Yashas is, building a brand for yourself, earning that respect, that trust, and having that power to make things happen. So these are the fundamental principles of these systems, the positive intentions, if you want to call that way. And again, if you observe the things that we identified, the yoga, yagna, and yashas, these terms come from the Bharatiya culture. So I specifically chose these terms from Bharatiya culture because of the richness, or the variety and the depth of this culture. So now that we identified the positive intentions or the fundamental principles of these systems, now we integrate them with the leadership. So what do I mean by that? So this is where my system of Y3 leadership comes in. So what do I mean by Y3 leadership? So for this, I invite you to visualize a tree. So when we take a tree, there are at the bottom there are roots and there is a trunk, and then on the top of it there are the branches, leaves, fruits, flowers, and all that part. The bottom, the roots represents yoga, the trunk represents yagna, the upper part represents the yashas. Again, it's like a metaphor that I'm giving for you to be able to visualize it in a very clear way. So there is the yoga, yagna, and yashas. So what vital leadership tells us, so generally, when we say leadership, people generally are focused on the yashas, gaining that power, that building that brand, that respect, trust, and all. That is important. And for that to happen, the foundation aspect is the yagna. So you need to offer value. Only when we are offering value, true value, what people really need, when you're solving problems, that leads to a proper yashas. And for you to be able to do that contribution, add value, to do that yajna, yoga is very important because you need to come from a state of inner well-being. If you yourself are from a state of suffering, you will not be able to do the yajna on a consistent basis. So in the pursuit of yashas, don't neglect yajna. In the pursuit of yajna, don't neglect yoga. So take care of the foundation aspects. Again, we are not telling that first focus only on yoga and then focus on yajna, and after that is then go to yashas. No, all these things happen parallelly. So we are not talking about a sequential thing. We are talking about value hierarchies. So don't neglect the foundational aspects. So that is what we mean by vital leadership. So here again, there are various other aspects. We have the Vaitri community where the Vaitri leadership, this framework is the foundation, and we have various different levels, and we do various activities and various programs. All that is there. I'm not going into all the details of my community in this video. My primary intention is to show this as an example of using the parts integration. So, what is parts integration? Parts integration is when there are two conflicting parts. So we understand what is the positive intention or the core principle of this part. And if required, you will do the same with this part also. And once you understand the core, then you will see how we can integrate them. Or you have a journey that you are making. So once you identify the positive intention, how can you integrate that with your journey? So that is parts integration. So we'll be going, into various different aspects of parts integration further in this series. As I told, this is a parts integration series. So we'll be exploring further related to the parts integration, um and for those who want to explore more about specifically the vital leadership, you can get in touch with me. I'll give the relevant information below this video. So there is some amazing community, the Y3 community. We explore a lot of things. So it is an invitation in that direction as also for you. So what are your key insights from this video? Or how do you wish to use the parts integration in your own life? Or maybe you want to help someone. So how will you use the parts integration to help someone? So what are your key insights and takeaways? You can let us know in the comments below. Namaskaram.